So we're on, eh?
I'm checking right now. Yeah, it says redirecting the live stream page. Yeah, let me refresh over here. Just see. It's not showing up yet on what I have. Make sure I'm on the right page. Oh, gotta hit the got it button. Sorry. Anything? I don't see it yet. Mitch, you see it?
No, I'm not seeing it. It's just a looping video right now that I'm seeing.
It's saying that we are live here. You see it?
Oh,
We're-
no,
we're-
we're live. It's just a looping video right now that I'm
We are
seeing.
we are good to go. I see it. And that we are live here. Yep. Bryan, you're up.
All right. Welcome back to another virtual conference, actually a masterclass Q&A with the Healing for the Ages team. Ely asked me before we went live, do I have any last words? I said, yeah, I love you. All right. So Dr. Janet Schmidt, I love you. Dr. Ed Group, I love you. Dr. Henry Ely, I love you. Mitch Moore, I think you know how much we love you because we almost couldn't pull this off without you, buddy. And I really mean that. All right. We're very excited that you're here. I hope that everybody's excited for the evening. I don't know about the audience, but I just have a blast hanging out with Ed Group, Henry Ely, and Jana Schmidt, and Mitch. It's just a great team, and it's very exciting to get together. We're all off on our own doing research all the time and coming back together every week and sharing that information with each other. And we're so excited about the upcoming conference in September. A couple of house notes. We've got April 24th is going to be the next masterclass Q&A with us. And on that date, April 24th, put it on your calendars. And also remember, there's a calendar, a live calendar, updated calendar at healingfortheages.com. You can actually see when every event that we are doing and hosting is available. So you can put those on your calendars. But on that date, April 24th, we'll be opening the registration, not for our actual conference in September. We are having a virtual conference that people can register for, buy tickets for, April 24th. And we are doing that in May. And I believe the date's May 25th. Correct me if I'm wrong there, Dr. Ely. We're good on May 25th. Rocking. All right. So that's April 24th. That'll be the next one. All right. So we're going to be spending some time here for the next hour, maybe hour plus, sharing with you some of the thoughts that we've had since last month, which I hope you guys are excited about. I'm excited to hear what Jana Schmidt's going to be talking about. I can't wait. Can't wait to see what Dr. Henry Ely is going to be showing us because he's got some incredible research and documented video evidence of EMF technologies and how it is we can, reduce the effects of those on us. Thank God. It's been a heavy lift for us since our last conference. And then Dr. Ed Group, I don't know about y'all, but that guy blows my mind every time he opens his mouth. So as he said, when I asked him beforehand, what you going to talk about, Ed? He's like, whatever comes out of my mouth. And just so you know, it's going to be a ton of brilliance because that guy doesn't stop researching 24/7. Very few minds are like Ed's, and I love it. All right, so let's dive into it. I want to actually just I'm going to show my screen since I know I have the capability of doing that. I want to show this, and I want to get Dr. Ed Group's feelings and the rest of the team, but really Dr. Group. This is fun. This is important. This is on CNN Health. This is March of this year. It is a titled article in mainstream media news, CNN Health. There's a new mental illness called orthorexia. And it's an eating disorder that few people understand and many accidentally applaud. Yay, we're excited for people who have this. There's an accidental applause for people who are living this way. Do y'all want to know what this is? I think it's important that we all do. All right, so CNN reports Jason Wood was sitting in a restaurant on vacation with his husband, angry and upset because he couldn't swap pita for fresh veggies in his hummus plate. The pain wasn't overblown. Wood said it was 20 years of an eating disorder and the anxiety and stress that comes with it, culminating into one moment, he said. Wood suffers from orthorexia, an eating disorder that is not in the DSM manual of mental disorders, which is what psychiatry uses to prescribe drugs, where the listed mental illnesses are. And they state that orthorexia, which is the formal, this book is the formal guide for clinical assessment of mental health conditions, but clinicians are seeing a rise in orthorexia among patients, said therapist Jennifer Rollin, founder of the Eating Disorder Center in Rockville, Maryland. We're going to skip the next one and we're going to stay right here. Orthorexia is a fixation on eating clean, as defined by a set of rules dependent on certain individuals and the context they live in, said Dr. Jennifer Gardini, an eating disorder physician and founder and medical director of the Gardini Clinic in Denver. A November 2023 study found that about 3 in 10 people showed signs of orthorexia. Often this disorder goes unnoticed or underestimated because it's hyper-focused on healthy eating, said Wood. Now they're going to continue in here that they're going to talk about gluten, wanting to avoid gluten, people that want to do that, people that want to stay away from processed foods. They believe that this should be added to the DSM manual for psychiatrists to be able to call people who want to avoid processed foods and focus on eating healthy foods. They want to now term that a mental illness called orthorexia. And I'm not sure if you guys know this in the audience. My panel will know this. For every mental illness that is in the DSM manual, guess what else there's a recommendation for? A prescription drug for your mental illness. Now, Dr. Ed Group, I don't know how much you know about orthorexia, but I was shocked when me and Dr. Janice Schmidt went through a radio show called Looking for Healing Radio a couple weeks ago, and I could not avoid this article that I saw. Give me your thoughts about a mental illness. Do you feel mentally ill, like eating clean and focusing on eating healthy? Give me your perspective on this orthorexia.
I mean, I freak out all the time when I'm in an airport and I can't get organic food. So I guess I have orthorexia or something like that. They're going to, you know how we talk about how everything is engineered all the time? The psychiatric industry was specifically engineered to create more money for the pharmaceutical industry. And that was in 1952 when they came out with the first DSM manual, and they made up 112 mental disorders that they could prescribe medication to, because they knew that the psychiatric industry, they wanted to create an industry where they didn't actually have to do diagnostic testing. They didn't have to do MRIs or blood work or, patient histories or anything like that. Basically, you just come in and everybody gets diagnosed with some sort of mental disorder. Back then, it was like agoraphobia, mostly just phobias, that people were suffering from. It was so profitable in the 50s that they actually said, how can we double the amount of mental disorders? And in 1968, they came out, the DSM-2 came out with 145 mental disorders. And then that was so profitable. In 1980, they came out with 292 mental disorders. And then in 1984, it was 374 mental disorders. And now it's close to 500 mental disorders, which drives a $500 billion to $1 trillion industry every single year. And this is what they said in 1952. They said, we'll just say it's a chemical imbalance. And we can prescribe any medication we want for these chemical imbalances. Not like what is the root cause, like we talk about, but they must have a chemical imbalance from the toxins in the food, in the air, and the beverages, and the water that we're feeding them.
Well, I find
Now
this
it's become
shocking.
a huge industry, and it's even shocking to me because I follow this industry, especially over the last 10 years of what they're doing to the children. They are doing tests in schools, even in kindergarten, and diagnosing kids with mental disorders in kindergarten. And they now are diagnosing babies in the womb with mental disorders.
Yeah, we actually covered this on a show. I think Dr. Jana was on that show the other day. We were talking about they're diagnosing 0 to 3-year-old children now with mental illnesses. 0 to 3.
Psychiatric drugs right now are killing an estimated 5,000 people a month, but you don't hear that on the news, do you?
No, you don't. Hey, Dr. Group, we'll jump off this topic. I just had to make fun of the fact that they're now trying to demonize the want to eat healthy and avoid processed foods and lab-created foods. They want to make it look like you're mentally ill and crazy if you're focused on eating healthy and trying to stay healthy. And I find that just absurd. I was joking before we came on the air. I said, what are they going to do? Now they're going to send out like police to farmers markets and start like making sure everybody there is diagnosed and mentally ill and take them off to a mental institution and put them in handcuffs or straitjackets. It's
Well,
pretty crazy. But Dr. Group, you
but
said
wait,
something to
we're
us
all
off air.
mentally ill, right? Because we tell
Obviously.
the truth, and we're censored because we're conspiracy theorists. So we're all technically mentally ill, and everybody, according to their guidelines.
All right. So in this book, DSM, when I brought this up a minute ago before we got on the air, I had no idea that Dr. Ed Group had recently done a whole review and research on this DSM for psychiatry and mental illness disorders. But he brought up for all of us, and I want y'all to hear it. Dr. Group, I want you to tell them what was one example of what's considered a mental illness, and you can be diagnosed with a mental illness that is listed in that DSM manual for psychiatry.
I mean, basically everything you can.
No, there's one shocking one. You said if you go in and you get
okay,
evaluated,
so,
and then you go ahead.
Yeah, so that was actually a study that was done in 1972. That was the Rosenhan experiment, where they took 8 healthy individuals that had no mental illness just to see and to test the psychiatric industry. And they sent them to 8 different mental institutions. And they told them, go in the mental institution and say that you're hearing voices in your head. So they did that, and they were all 8 immediately committed to the institutions. And this was in 1972. And then they abandoned their symptoms the next day and said, you know what? I don't know what that was. I don't have anything in my head anymore. It must have just, I don't know what, maybe I was just hearing something. And out of the 8 that were in there, 7 of them were diagnosed with schizophrenia.
Incredible. All right.
And
so
they
this
had
is
nothing wrong with them. So that'd be like you going in, getting diagnosed with cancer, then going back in and the cancer's gone, but then you still have cancer.
And they still want to give you chemo and radiation. No,
Yeah.
You still have it. Got to give it to you. Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. All right. So that was kind of fun. I just love the idea that now they're trying to push. In that article on CNN, you'll see this last month, they are pushing to have this put into the DSM manual for mental illness disorders. And they are frustrated that this process is taking so long. That's what they are saying in the article. Why is it taking so long to get this mental illness definition into the DSM manual so we can call these people attending Healing for the Ages mentally ill, right? That's what they're wanting to do. All right. So thank you, Dr. Group. That was quite liberating and enlightening. Thank you. I will avoid that industry at all costs. Thank you. All right. Now, Oprah Winfrey and Tucker Carlson the last month have kicked off a massive amount of propaganda in support of some weight loss drugs and diabetes drugs that I've been talking about for 2 years now, but it just seems to be catching on with more and more people talking about it. And then obviously the queen of TV, Oprah Winfrey, made her television debut after like 30 years and came on last Monday to tell the world a whole ABC special titled Shame, Blame, and the Weight Loss Industry, or Weight Loss Revolution. And it was all about the drugs that are being prescribed now, called Ozempic, Wegovy, Majorna, Zepbound, and Byetta. These are the biggest names. They're all the same drug. And these drugs are called GLP-1 drugs. Oprah Winfrey talked about removing her board position at Weight Watchers, giving up her stocks and donating them to an African-American natural history museum, something. So that was what she did, and then did this episode. And this episode was pushing drugs that now I could not believe this. Healing for the Ages group, not sure if you heard this yet, but Novo Nordisk that makes those drugs, Ozempic and Wegovy. America is the only country primarily buying those drugs. They're now worth $2.21 trillion in just 5 years of that drug being approved by the FDA. And the majority of the sales have come in the last 2 years. So I want to just bring this forward. A couple of weeks ago, I was on a call with Dr. Robert Young and Judy Mikovits, and he wanted to show me that one of those drugs called Zepbound, which is a once-a-week injection, he actually put it on a slide, then filmed it, and you could see there was nanotech that was actually shaping into a grid, an electronic grid of some sort, like a nanotech. And it was all he did was squirt out the Zepbound drug right out of the syringe. And you could see this forming metals all congregating into making a circuit board. And so I looked at him and I was like, I've never heard of Zepbound. I just looked it up because it looked in the image on his PowerPoint slide, it looked just like Ozempic's cartridge. So I just looked it up, and sure enough, Zepbound is another GLP-1 drug. All right. I said this the other day when the Healing for the Ages group was on the Diamond and Silk show. And I said, I don't know why Oprah Winfrey and Tucker Carlson refuse to tell you that you are injecting yourself with Gila monster venom. once a week for life. I don't know why they're not telling you this. These drugs are not identical to human being hormones. That's what they're telling you, but it is not. Every research paper says the venom of the Gila monster is only 50% similar to the human body's GLP-1 hormone. So that is not identical. Is there anybody on this panel right here who would think that if you had two human beings standing there and they only had 50% of the same DNA, they would call them identical twins? No, none of that would be identical. So that they're trying to convince you that what is being manufactured in a venomous reptile lizard right next to and probably underneath Dr. Henry Ely's home and wherever he lives in the deserts, guaranteed you that venomous lizard is there. And they're telling you this is good for weight loss. A few things I want to show you, and I'm going to share my screen again, and then I'll wrap it up with this. This is from Healthline. Taking GLP-1 drugs for weight loss can lead to serious GI symptoms. Now, I've already talked about this. These drugs have a black box warning that they will cause thyroid cancers called medullary cancers in everybody if they take it for 12 months to 3 years. This drug, for everybody in this audience, when you're prescribed this drug, it is just like being prescribed a high blood pressure drug. When they tell you you need a high blood pressure drug, they tell you you need it for life. This is no different. All of these drugs are being prescribed for life, team ages. So you're supposed to inject once a week Gila monster venom inside your body every week until you die. That's what they're telling you. Well, this article, I just want to show you what they found in an open letter that was written last month. I want to read this to you, and y'all can follow on the screen. Increased GI risk, that's your stomach and intestines, risk for users of these drugs. They found that patients prescribed GLP-1s were at significantly higher risk of pancreatic bowel obstruction and gastroparesis. Gastroparesis means your stomach is paralyzed. Researchers also saw a slight increase in the risk of biliary disease. That's where your gallbladder spits out bile, liver, gallbladder. That's Ed Group's expertise. Conditions affecting the gallbladder, but were deemed not statistically significant. Here's how those numbers broke down. Please pay attention to these numbers. Any of you who still think it's a good idea to lose weight and manage blood sugar with Gila monster venom. They found all people that started taking these drugs, there was a 9 times higher risk of pancreatitis. I don't know if y'all know about this. My grandfather one time got the flu shot and within 3 days was in the hospital in New Orleans for 3 weeks with such severe pain. He had to be on morphine every single day from pancreatitis. That's how debilitating it was. All right, so 9 times higher risk of pancreatitis that can put you in a hospital and it can become chronic, they write there. Symptoms of pancreatitis include abdominal pain, nausea, fever, and swollen or tender abdomen. For people using these Ozempic Gila monster venom drugs, there is a 4 times higher risk of intestinal obstruction. Intestinal obstruction occurs when the intestines are unable to pass their contents. A blockage can occur due to nerve or muscle problems in the intestines. This condition is serious and potentially fatal when it occurs. 3.67 times higher risk of gastroparesis, paralyzed stomach, sometimes called stomach paralysis. This is gastroparesis is when the stomach takes too long to empty its contents. It is frequently accompanied by nausea and vomiting. What you're going to get from Healing from the Ages is individuals who are looking into what are the real risk of things you're being promoted. Not everything you're being told is safe and effective, nor are they being completely honest with you. And so as well as with the GLP-1 drugs, just remember, I want y'all to know, and I did not decide this until the last 2 weeks or so. I've wondered what it is the topic I want to actually really hammer on when we get to Healing for the Ages 2.0 in September. Well, I want you to know I have really dove into, and I'm going to give the warning right now. This is not what I'm going to talk about there, but this is in conjunction with that. I have looked into books as far back as 1956 so far, all research on the utilization of Gila monster venom proteins being injected into mammals. I cannot find in any literature, anywhere, any substance on Earth that neutralizes it and gets it out in a hurry. So unlike the other venoms we found that were correlated to COVID, the vaccines, there are many things we found that are published to inhibit it and remove it from the body. They have not published a single thing that I can find. And if there is something, they haven't made the world able to find it or make it very easy for us to find it. We will keep researching that, but I need to let you know, people constantly reach out and say to the Healing for the Ages team, literally, what do we do for people who were taking this? Or if I was on it and I came off of it, what do we do if I was on Ozempic and Wegovy? The truth is right now, we don't know. I can't find anything to tell you that. However, what this has opened up is a Pandora's box for me. And do you want to know what it is? I decided if that GLP-1 hormone in venomous lizards in the Southwestern America are able to mimic the action of a hormone in humans, I wanted to study what are the natural things found in food, nature, animals, plants, the dirt, you name it. What is found that actually does the exact same thing to release or magnify the amount of GLP-1 hormone that we do make? And it is true, GLP hormone in the human body, when it is released, when we start eating food, the pancreas in the stomach and the intestines start releasing GLP-1 hormone in a lot of amounts when we start chewing food in our mouth. It signals to our body to start releasing this hormone. This hormone does help lower blood sugar levels in the body, and it does help stop us from wanting to eat more food. So it helps to reduce caloric intake. What's crazy that I've recently learned is that this GLP-1 hormone that human beings make, the moment it gets released, within 2 minutes, half of it is destroyed by another enzyme that our pancreas releases called dipeptidase. Peptidase is what it's called, dipeptidyl peptidase. This thing, DDP, actually comes in and breaks it down. And what the Gila monster's venom, the component in the venom, is called exendin-4, EXENDIN-4. That component of the venom of those Gila monsters is what everybody's injecting once a week into their body that causes those problems I just showed you. The difference about this exendin-4 venom protein, it actually stimulates the pancreas and the intestines to release GLP-1 hormone. But our own peptidase cannot break that down. So you can't break down the GLP-1 hormone from venom of a Gila monster. That's why they're giving it to you. However, if your body can't break it down, you're going to see why it is they're reporting that so many hundreds of thousands of people in America just this year alone, CNN reported in October, 5 months ago, hundreds of thousands of Americans now have paralyzed stomachs that are making them remove themselves from their jobs. They can't cook, clean, take care of their children, or travel because they're throwing up all day long for up to 2 years after they stop these drugs. Well, I just want you to know, I went down to Global Healing's headquarters with that group last Thursday, and we were hanging out as a whole team down there. And I told them, I said, look, I've built out an entire presentation. I'm up to 84 slides now of everything in nature that mimics the action of that hormone. And I have figured out there is one component in a plant on this earth that in the human body blocks dipeptidyl peptidase from breaking down GLP hormone. And I told that group, I said, oh, just so you know, it's time for us to come out with our own natural Ozempic. Let's come out with our own potent, all natural, totally clean, non-toxic version of something, but it's all natural and from plants and from minerals and amino acids. And it's going to be amazing what we're going to present. And we're very excited, but we're going to teach you all those principles, whether or not you have a formulation for it or not. We do know this. This is why this is important to me. In the last 4 years, they report nothing has skyrocketed more during COVID or because of COVID than diabetes diagnoses. And they are stating, World Health Organization, the month after the pandemic ended by Joe Biden, 1 month later, the World Health Organization said estimates are now by the year 2050, there will be 1.31 billion diabetics on this planet. What they then came out with and are now shoving down your throat is that they have 500 million in the world right now, diabetics, and they're projecting that to continue to grow. And now they are forcing down your throat with a massive propaganda machine that includes Tucker Carlson and Oprah Winfrey to get you to inject inside of yourselves venom that causes these possible fatal side effects. They are creating the problem, and then they're presenting you with the solution. And just remember, these pharmaceutical companies are buying off governments, lobbying government officials to force their experimental drugs on all of you. And this is us trying to do our best to be great for you. As they do this stuff, it actually makes me excited. I get to learn what they are doing and can we do it better with nature and do it safer, which is exactly why Global Healing was ever created, why Ardis Labs was ever created, why Jan is All Natural was ever created, and why Dr. Henry really started his institute. All right, that is my warnings to you. I love you all and so grateful for all of you. Let's turn this over. We've got a clip we want to play that Dr. Group sent to us a couple weeks ago. And you can ask me how I felt about this video. It wasn't shocking to me. However, it should be shocking to you. Let's take it away. I think Dr. Ely is going to play it for us, and then Dr. Group is going to chime in.
Breaking news coming out in the last 24 hours of attacks on U.S. water systems. That includes drinking water and wastewater systems. This out from the White House and the EPA. Take a look at the latest headlines coming out. Cyber attacks are targeting U.S. water systems, warns the EPA and the White House. Cyber attacks are hitting water systems throughout the U.S. Biden officials warn governors there's going to be a special meeting tomorrow with governors regarding protecting the water systems of the United States. White House, EPA warned water sector of cybersecurity threats. Iran may attack U.S. water supplies, warns the Biden administration. This coming out in the last 24 hours. Lifeline critical infrastructure systems face cybersecurity threat. And here's the official release from the EPA. Biden-Harris administration engages states on safeguarding water sector infrastructure against cyber threats. This coming out just yesterday in an official statement. And this comes as, take a look at this. We know they're in our networks. The CISA, who protects the United States against cyber attacks, officials say of a nation-state actor that's infiltrating U.S. critical infrastructure systems. However, I shared with you just recently, the CISA itself was hit by hackers, had to take key systems offline. The group responsible for protecting our infrastructure systems actually being hacked themselves. And this comes as the FBI director has been warning that Chinese hackers, they're preparing to wreak havoc on the U.S.'s critical infrastructure systems. And also we're hearing, as I mentioned, Iran, and they're saying a major attack is on the way. And we're already seeing that, as I've shared with you. Cyber attacks on hospitals are likely to increase, putting lives at risk, experts warn, and we've already seen pharmacies going down. So I've also shared with you that if you're somebody that wants some backup meds, I've got a link in the description below to lifesavervault.com and other resources as well, just in case we see these come to fruition. Now, I'm going to get you caught up on the latest so that way you can see it for yourself, what is actually unfolding in the last 24 hours. And please share this out, because for some reason, I am not seeing this on the mainstream news media. They're not sharing about the attacks on water systems that are coming out right now. So I'm going to get you caught up on the latest now before we dive into.
Now, I don't know how the rest of y'all feel in the audience, but I know a guy very intimately who came out 2 years ago with some documentary called Watch the Water. I'm not really sure if anybody y'all saw it, but this guy I know came out with that thing. And when he did, he was letting the world know that the CDC at the time was actually doing testing for COVID, supposedly, on 400 different water treatment plants in America. Since that documentary came out, there is now, the CDC now has 2,000 water treatment plants they are now doing that testing at. So ask me if I'm convinced that this is a outside of the United States attack and not some kind of red flag thing that we're looking at. All right, Dr. Group, this is what you're going to be hammering on. What were your thoughts when you first saw this that made you send it to us last week?
You and the Watch the Water. It's like, here's the thing. Like, we've all been working really hard behind the scenes, and the Ages Group has been funding this research project. And we're actually looking at and making the links under these microscopes. We're looking at the quantum dots. We found a laboratory that can finally test people's blood for forever chemicals and all of these different things that we're seeing. We just recently were able to acquire actually phospholipase A2 and some of these snake venoms. The strange thing was, it was like no questions asked. We literally ordered venoms from these websites and nobody even asked any questions. So what we're trying to do now, so we've already identified, and by the way, the reason I sent that is because the water, we already know. We're going to be presenting a lot of this research at the September conference, the Ages conference. You have to tune into that. You just put it on your calendar right now, September 12th, 13th, and 14th. It's going to be a must watch. We're learning so much, and we're going so deep into the nanotechnology and how this is all piecing together with the hydrogels and we just, we're still uncovering things. It's amazing because we have these microscopes that are able to use fluorescence, and these evil people are so intelligent and so smart on hiding things and piecing things together of how you need the metals in your body and how you need the inorganic minerals in your body and how they're destroying your liver and getting people to eat more sugar and alcohol and getting all these bacteria, these weaponized bacteria and these weaponized yeast, which I believe are in the water too. And most people don't even know that they're injecting cattle now with mRNA vaccines, even range-fed, grass-fed, certified organic beef that's going to the slaughterhouses. Just last week, they caught them injecting the beef with mRNA vaccines. They asked them what the heck they're doing. They're saying that they don't have to disclose that. They can inject them. FDA just approved a new vaccine for pork. It's in the food. It's in the water. It's in the air that they're spraying. I mean, it's everywhere. What we're seeing under the microscope, whether you got the bioweapon shot, whether you didn't get the bioweapon shot, we're still seeing all this stuff inside the blood, inside the fluids of the body. And depending on your environment that you're in, the level of symptoms that you're experiencing, what we're really working on behind the scenes is figuring out how to neutralize all that. And we've already got enough evidence on all the nanotechnology. And now what we're doing is we're proving under the microscope how the venoms come into play. The venoms look like crystals under the microscope. Everything fluoresces at a different color so we can identify it. We can research it. We can prove what we're seeing, and then we can also look at the things that are neutralizing these compounds from the body. You'll be happy to know, Dr. Ardis, that there is something that I believe will neutralize the Gila monster venom, and it's exactly the same thing that they use to make anti-venoms, which is your own urine. Anytime that your body is exposed to any type of venom, whether it's a bee sting, a jellyfish sting, a poisonous snake bite, your body produces antivenoms. That's how they create antivenoms. And they either do it through the blood or the urine, but the urine is filtered blood. It's the same thing. You have the same amount of antivenoms in your blood as you do in your urine. And that to me is what, in my research since 2020, one of the most effective things at neutralizing a lot of the venoms, along with the EDTA and along with the foreign protein cleanse that was specifically developed for that. And who knows, I would bet to say that the foreign protein cleanse probably does the same thing.
Well, I can already tell you what we're going to do. We're going to order Extendin 4 venom. We're going to order it like we did the phospholipase A2 and just put it under the microscope and add some urine. Let's see if it changes the protein structure. If it does, this is what it's going to do. But I guarantee you, when I said I can't find anything in publications, it's probably because they have not researched urine's impact on the venoms, and then they just didn't publish it. They're looking at anything else.
Yeah, no, and they're not going to come out and talk about all that. But some of the other things that we're seeing amazing results with are the ozonated activated charcoal. It is so efficient at binding. And by the way, the EDTA is actually removing arsenic from the body, which is extremely hard to remove. And it's all about just getting the metals out of the body, getting the minerals, the inorganic minerals that are calcifying in the system out of the body. Most people have massive amounts of calcium carbonate, and just inorganic calcium in their bodies. And ultimately, it just comes back to everything that we're finding and all of this stuff that we're talking about and all the research that we're doing. It comes back to you being responsible for your own health and drinking pure, clean water more than ever right now. I mean, with what we're going through as a society, which is a good thing. I mean, it sounds like doom and gloom, but I've been saying this is the best ever. This is the best time ever, because we've gotten to a point in society where everybody's become so zombified that the only way you're going to wake them up is just shake them and go through some pain and trauma and suffering. So pain and trauma and suffering can be one of the most effective ways to transform your life and everybody's life. But the hardest part is everybody's just always looking outside of themselves, and always, because it's the way that they've been programmed for quite some time, is that, if something goes wrong, I need to go over here. I need to go to this doctor's office over here. We're just teaching simplicity, okay? Because everything that we talk about is a poison. That's it. Whether it's inorganic minerals, whether it's metals, whether it's venoms, whether it's nanotech, whether it's weaponized parasites, it's all a toxin. It's all a poison. So, I mean, as much as we're researching, it's still coming back to the basic simplicity. You know, you talked about burning out the gut. I mean, if you look at it doesn't matter what it is when you start looking at symptoms and diseases, it's all starting in the gut. The gut's getting burned out. The gut's not healthy because of what you're putting in your system, what you're exposed to, the food that you're putting in your system, even a lot of the air you breathe goes down into your gut because you have mucus membranes and your hair catches it, and those mucus ends up draining down into your gut. You still do breathe some into your bloodstream. But, you know, after all the 30 years of research that we've all been doing, I keep asking myself, is anything different? It still comes back to cleaning and healing your gut, cleaning all the chemicals and metals and all the venoms and all the stuff out of the system, cleaning the parasites, especially the weaponized parasites out of your system, and cleaning your liver. This is something that we've all been noticing, and this is becoming an epidemic. I'm getting people coming in and calling us and saying, hey, I've been to all these doctors. Nobody can get me better. And it's all coming. The attack of the nanotechnology and the attack of the venoms and the attack of all these things. Guess what? Guess where it goes? It goes to your liver. Your liver has to break down all poisons. You have a phase 1 and a phase 2 detoxification pathway. And regardless, people are like, I'm doing all this stuff and I'm not getting better, or I've seen all these doctors, I'm not getting better. And my first question is, okay, well, are you cleaning and healing your gut? And how many liver cleanses have you done? And they're like, well, nobody's really telling me to do any liver cleanses. Your liver is so powerful. Like right now, in the times that we are in, when we're being attacked and poisoned by multiple different angles, your liver is the main organ. Your liver is the organ that's going to process and get rid of all these things. You have to be doing liver cleanses. I mean, you got to get your liver back up to 80%. You got to get all the parasites out of your body. Just it's not that hard, but all that, it's easy to say that, but in reality, it's just you making the decision to take care of your own health and to detoxify and to clean your body on a regular basis. And it's hard. It's hard for people to do that and to take the time and the effort to really focus in on themselves. You know, like they say, self-love. You know, most people don't even love themselves. I've asked so many people that are sick, when you look in the mirror, do you say, I love you? I mean, do you really love yourself? And pretty much all of them will say no, they don't, because they've been programmed to think they're overweight or they're this or that or something. So it's time that we all get back to the simplicity of healing, which is what the Healing for the Ages group is all about. We're not here saying, you need to do all this and you need to do all that. It's just let the body heal itself. The body is the most powerful healer. That's why you combine the binders and the urine therapy and the detoxification strategies. And what Dr. Ely's going to talk about is the earth. I mean, the earth is one of the most powerful healing agents ever. It's sunlight. I mean, we have so many different things that are for free. It's just time. It's dedicating time to yourself mentally, spiritually, and physically to be able to transform your life. It's the whole thing about I don't have time anymore. I don't have time for this. I don't have time for that. It really doesn't take a lot of time to start focusing on yourself. You just have to make that decision. Everything's about poisons, detox, time, and decisions, which I talk about all the time. It's you can literally change right now and make that decision to start eating healthier, to start going to bed and getting good sleep, to wake up in the morning and do some qigong and ground yourself, to do some meditation, to do some prayer, to get out in the sun and feel the rays of the sun, to start putting air purifiers in your home, cleaning up the air, the food, and the water, starting eating healthy, and just challenge yourself. Am I going to, eat a nice organic salad or a piece of fruit, or am I going to go for that hamburger and fries and baked potato and 2 glasses of wine. Right now, it's very important to limit your sugar intake because they're relying on the addictions. They've purposely got everybody addicted to horrible food. We are transitioning, just like Klaus Schwab said, it's not going to, yes, for some people, they're going to go downhill, but in all honesty, the good guys are winning, and I see it, and I really believe that we're going to win this, and God's going to wake more and more people up every single day to who they really are, who they really are as a human. And that's what the energy and the vibration is really all about, is about increasing in your vibration and your energy and loving yourself more and detoxifying yourself and understanding. That's why education is so important. That's why we're all about education. You have to understand what is going on in your body and how your body's breaking down to then understand how to heal your body. So what we've noticed, especially since 2021, is the livers are being attacked extremely, aggressively. We have 2-day liver cleanses, the Hulda Clark liver cleanse, just taking lots of good liver cleansing herbs, drinking some olive oil down is a good way to or avocado, raw avocado oil down is to clean the liver. And what we're really finding is the self-healing mechanism starts to be reactivated, usually after about 6 to 9 liver cleanses. That's how congested and toxic our livers are, just screaming for help because we're not supporting them. We're just, bombarding ourselves with more stuff and more stuff and more stuff. And that's why, fasting is so important too, because when you fast and you don't eat as much, your liver has time to start detoxing itself naturally.
I just want to speak one thing, 2 things actually. As you're talking, all I'm thinking about is this book I read like 20 years ago that I used to tell all my patients when they'd first come in, when they would think all their problems were so mysterious, so complex. They've been to every clinic, hospital in the country and around the world with all these big medical records. They just had given up hope. And I would actually encourage them all to read one book by a guy named Norman Cousins, and it's called Anatomy of an Illness. And in this book, he talks about there's 3 basic things that I use to cure myself of a terminal illness I was told I would never be able to survive. And these principles, he said he learned from his mother. It was get plenty of rest and then laugh a lot. Laughter is the best medicine, his mom taught him. And then make sure you're getting vitamin C every day. And this guy, if you read the book, everybody should go read this book. Healing is not that hard. You just need to put yourself in a different circumstance than you're currently putting yourself inside of. So change it up, and then you're just going to improve. But rest is massive. Laughter and joy of life, finding joy in life somewhere, is massively helpful to raising endorphins and improving circulation and immunity. It's beautiful. And then the second thing, Ed Group just mentioned olive oil and helping to detox the liver. And I said I wasn't going to talk about this GLP-1 hormone stuff until September of our conference. But I have to tell you all something. Do you know the human body? I learned this a couple weeks ago. Do you know that the human body produces the most GLP hormone release in your entire body with olive oil? It's the number one thing that does it. So in cleansing the liver, olive oil cleanses the liver. Olive oil also helps the body secrete GLP-1 hormone, and that hormone helps to reduce blood sugar. It helps to increase beta cells in your pancreas's release of insulin. It helps to reverse insulin resistance. It's phenomenal. So olive oil, I would just like to ask the entire audience, when's the last time you even focused on making sure olive oil was in your diet? And what this did as I started diving into it, you're going to start to learn, and y'all are going to learn in September, it almost looks identical to the Mediterranean diets. It's very interesting. Almost every food, amino acids that you eat, long chain fatty acids, olive oil, butter, you name it, these things just skyrocket the highest amounts of GLP-1 hormone. But all of us have been lied to for 50 years that fats need to be avoided at all cost. Dr. Group, is there anything else you wanted to add to your presentation?
Yes, I do. I just want to say how we started off with the water, that it's, there's a lot of hype going around about this April 8th solar eclipse that's happening. You guys have probably read it. There's all kinds of FEMA warnings and everything. Oh, it's going to be a disaster. Everything's going to break down. This could be a perfect situation for them to implement lots of things, lots of biological warfare. They're already coming out with the water. My biggest recommendation right now is to be very careful on the water you drink. That means this was the first Healing of the Ages conference. We showed you guys how to produce the best, cleanest water on the planet, the holy water. This means that no going to Starbucks and getting coffees with that water that they use over there, eating out at restaurants, they cook all their food in the water. Be very diligent the next couple months and just be drinking the distilled holy water that we tell you to drink. If you don't have a distiller, you get a distiller. And, you know, talking about the simplicity of healing, I've got books full of different anecdotal evidence of people that have just healed practically every condition with just drinking distilled water. Distilled water is a powerful water that we're enhancing it more and using biophotonics and structuring devices and stuff like that. But it is a powerful cleanser, and it is one of the best things that you can do for the health of your body and to protect you for the next few months, just in case they're coming out already talking about how our water system's going to be attacked. So it's the perfect way that they can test different counties. They can test different states, like what Dr. Ardis was talking about. They can put some of this over here in Houston water. They can put this over here in New York water. It's a perfect way to get analysis and to target actually different populations in different areas with different things. I mean, that first pandemic was an experiment. There wasn't just one thing in one shot. This was all multitude of different frequencies they were playing. They were, putting different things in the water, spraying things in the air. Props to Tennessee, by the way, for trying to make chemtrails illegal, and all the mainstream media freaking out about it, saying Tennessee's gone crazy as a conspiracy state now. But just, really pay attention to yourself and start cleansing and detoxifying your body as much as possible over the next few months. That's the tips. It doesn't have to be hard.
And I'll just say this, I hope I'm not sounding too crazy or whatever, because sometimes people say crazy things, and I've read a bunch of crazy stuff, but I have read many, many books recommended by people I respect, revere, trust, that have asked me to read books on Satanism, Luciferianism, that kind of stuff. And these individuals who do this stuff to innocent people, it states in every book I've read that they have to tell their victims what they are going to do to them before they do it, so that bad karma doesn't come back on them. Pay attention. They're warning you about the water. Please listen to Dr. Ed Group saying, they are telling you, some people call it predictive programming. They're telling you ahead of time what they're going to do to you. It's pretty amazing. All right, Dr. Group, that was phenomenal. Love you, brother. All right, Dr. Janice Schmidt, you're up next. We're gonna let the slugger, Dr. Henry Ely, wrap this thing up with some amazing presentations and videos. But wait till you see what Dr. Janice Schmidt has to present. Oh, and Dr. Group mentioned, he said the good guys are winning. I just want y'all to know the good guys are being led by one female named Dr. Janice Schmidt. All right, go Janice Schmidt. She's what we call Mother Nature. And
I'm
the
going to
queen
talk
bee.
fast because I can't wait to hear what Dr. H has got to say. Like, I just love the work that he's put together. So I won't be long, but I do want to share some information just to help people reduce their toxic loads. We need to reduce the toxic load as well as cleaning the liver. And there are 80,000 chemicals on the market in the US, and only 11 have restrictions on them from our government, from the FDA. So think about that, 80,000 and only 11 have restrictions.
Can you name them all?
No, they're very long. And so millions of Americans are using, largely unregulated chemicals on their bodies. And so I'm going to talk about our skin, the largest organ, covers our entire surface, and so many things that we put on our skin are going right into the bloodstream. And the more you know about the products and what to avoid, the more you can avoid these harmful ingredients. So I'm just going to give you a few and just remind you that you don't want these things in your skincare products. Aluminum, it's been linked to certain cancers. It's unequivocally a neurotoxin. Like, aluminum is you just want to avoid it at all costs. You're cooking, aluminum foil, all of that. You just want to avoid it completely, but you don't want to put it on your skin. It's used a lot in deodorants. Personally, I like colloidal silver as an alternative. It's pretty awesome. And I know that these guys use some things too that they really like. I want you to avoid BPA. You've heard a lot about BPA in plastic water bottles. There's a reason we're avoiding that. It has something called xenoestrogens, which is mimicking estrogen in our bodies. Opt out of that. If you don't know if it's BPA free, ask. And if they don't know, then just get glass and just, avoid it altogether. There's so many others. My goodness, food dyes. You don't want any food dyes in your skin products, in your food. It's usually a number, a word and followed by a number, right? And we were just talking about polysorbate 80. That's something that's an emulsifier in topical things too. Disrupts gut bacteria. It induces reproductive toxicity. And Dr. Ardis just shared with us about how it can cause spine damage. That was new to me, so I want to avoid that too. But the main thing I want to talk to you about is, like Ozempic, is a craze. Okay, this is a skincare craze. I had several people say, oh, I got this really great thing. Hey, can you check this out? Well, I looked at it. It's a wrinkle reducer, and it's marketed as a serum or gel or a mask, and it says better than Botox, and it's topical, right? So I'm thinking better than Botox. So here's the word. I'm going to read it because I can't remember it. Dipeptide, diaminobutyryl, benzolamide, diacetate. I'm like, what is this thing? So when you see something you don't know what it is, just look it up. Just, type it in and figure it out. And so many things will come up. So I did. And I finally found a company, and the company's name is DSM. That's the name of the company that makes this, claims to be 5 times more effective at reducing smoothing lines and Botox. I mean, they just go on and on. Anybody want to guess what it actually is?
I want you to show them.
I will. Well, it's called, yeah, let me get this what they call this synthetic ingredient. All right. I'm going to share my screen because I couldn't even believe it. I just couldn't believe it. Hang on. I'm trying to share my screen.
Neither could the rest of us.
Okay, here it is. Snake. SYN, obviously patent, AKE. Snake. Can everybody see that?
Yes, we can see it.
Oh,
Snake.
synthetic. Yes, synthetic venom of the type of a temple viper. Like, this is insane. Get rid of your laugh lines. Oh my goodness. Oh, it makes me so mad. It just makes me mad. I can't even stand it. So when I saw that, I'm thinking, wait, how does it work? How is this working? So basically it stuns or paralyzes the muscle under the skin. It's this neuromuscular blocking compound. I'm thinking, whoa, this sounds a lot like the Gila monster venom. So it mimics something called Wallergren 1. And I want you to make sure that's not written on anything you're putting on your body too, or ingesting. And it also goes by WTX-1. And the Wallergren 1 is Wagler's, WAGLERS, pit viper venom peptide. Paralyzes your skin. So this is why they're touting it as, oh, wrinkle reducer. It's really just paralyzing you. It can cause pain, swelling, tissue damage, kidney trouble, adrenal issue, pituitary. It goes on and on. Neurotoxicity, everything we know about venom poisoning, this can cause in your body, and people are going crazy for it. But it's not always, sometimes it's written right on there and they write SYN, AKE, venom. Sometimes it's pretty obvious, but sometimes it's tricky. I wanted to also mention that this venom in the snake ingredient also reduces and messes with the function of GABA in the brain. It's GABA. And that can induce depression and manic states. It also blocks sodium from being uptake. And, when there's low sodium, that can also mess with your mood. So I was, if you get a chance, just put that in, look at it, look what they say. They're like cutting edge wrinkle treatment, blah, 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 blah. And they're just promising all these things. So when you look for serums, eye creams, face masks, anti-aging products, shampoos, moisturizers, look for these strange things that are going to be venoms. One other thing is I thought, let me just look at the safety precautions and see what they say about this. Like, is it, because usually I'm kind of disappointed, like they're not saying it's as dangerous as it should be, but I looked up the safety sheet. So, okay, get this. Precautions for safe handling for this particular compound. avoid contact with eyes. Well, sure. Yeah, I get that. Don't get it in your eyes. But also avoid contact with skin. Like what? That's what the products are for. Put it on your skin. Avoid all contact with skin. And then this one really got me. Waste treatment methods. So that's how do you get rid of the product? So how do you get rid of the snake ingredient? It says burn in a chemical incinerator equipped with an afterburner and a scrubber, but be extra careful because when you ignite it, it's highly flammable and you must use a licensed disposal company. Y'all, use as natural as possible. I mean, you can even make your own skincare. It's God-given amazing plants like aloe, coconut, honey, avocado. These are amazing things that work beautifully. And I actually just mixed something together like that for this face wash. I use it like every day. I love it. Oh my goodness. And the gorgeous Bryan Ardis and I are really enjoying developing clean, truly natural skincare products that actually really work beautifully. They work as well or better than all this horrible stuff, and you avoid this toxic load in your body. And so if
Are they venom free?
they're venom free, thank God. I mean, read your labels. Look up the ingredients if you don't know what they are, or just avoid them. I mean, some of them have long names, but they're actually, chamomile, right? So some of them have those long Latin names. And if you want to know how to get venoms out of your body, go to Healing for the Ages and look at the conference we did in September. So that was our first conference. And it is clearly spelled out how to get rid of venoms in the body, how to detox, and how to strengthen and nourish your body and get ready for anything that can happen. So avoid some of these chemicals that are going to hurt you, and then I'll keep researching. I'll let you know what else I find. But you guys research too, and you let us know, because we need all the help we can get finding out what's going on out there. Yeah.
Are not all of us like shocked at the amount of venom crap that just randomly shows up in all of
Right?
our research? It's the weirdest
It just
thing, in my
keeps
opinion.
coming up. Yeah, it just keeps coming up.
It's very odd. All right. So there's cosmetics now that have snake in it, venom proteins, and they tell you on the safety sheets it should never be applied to the skin. That's amazing. All right. So let me give you a further warning. In 1956, it was stated that venom applied to the skin of a mammal or a bird will create all forms of cancerous tumor growth. If you want to know why it is, I think there's so much venom being promoted on the world, projected in the world. You were lied to about lisinopril and ACE inhibitor drugs since 1981. Every one of you humans swallowing that stuff are swallowing venom. And they figured out in 1961 that if you swallow venom, it causes every cancer in the human body. I think this is a way to continue to promote you that there's a natural resource we're getting from nature called venom from creatures in nature. And if you just apply that to the body, it's a therapeutic, and it's better than synthetic products, because human beings, they say, consumers are demanding more natural products. That's why they're going to venoms. Have any of you ever asked your doctor for a venom, anything? Hey, how can you get more venom inside of me? How can I get more venom on me? If you want to avoid developing cancer, including skin cancer, please don't put this crap on your body. Please know what you're using. Anyway, I'm shocked. And thank you, Jana, for taking the further step to look at the safety sheets.
Yes. Yes.
That's where you learn so much about things they are not going to disclose to you on the product page of the website of the company trying to sell you whatever device or product they're manufacturing.
And I will add one more thing to this is when you source natural ingredients that you didn't grow yourself. Like I love growing myself. I know what's going in it. I know how it's harvested. I know all of that's my favorite. And Dr. Group knows this too, because he's all about this. But when you source from someone else, like I love to go to the farms and like actually see what's going on. And let me see what you're doing. Let me test the soil. But you have to make sure that it's what it says it is too. So everybody follow companies, support companies that are doing that. And Dr. Group's Global Healing is doing that. They test everything that comes in. I'm like very, very particular. I have everything tested and sent out. If I can't test it myself, I have it sent out and try and find it, and so make sure the ingredients are good. But even some people that say, oh, this is great. Like you were saying, Dr. Group, with the meat, right? They're still kind of sliding some things in there. So be very careful what you use on your skin. And if you grow it yourself, if you get it yourself, you make it yourself, you know what's in it. So yeah, the Jana's All Natural, Global Healing, good stuff.
Incredible presentation. Great job, Dr. Group. Dr. Jana Schmidt, we love you. Thanks for being our queen bee there. All right. Dr. Henry Ely is so excited to lay out for you what he has been doing research-wise in his own home and his research team. And we have to give a big round of applause to his research team and the technical teams, Mitch Moore, and those that are helping us on our side. It's been a phenomenal effort. Dr. Henry Ely, are you ready to show the world what you've learned?
Yeah, I think so, man. I'm getting pretty pumped listening to all this stuff. I mean, it's like we have to stop for a second and pinch ourselves sometimes and go, this is crazy what we're talking about. Now I want to be healthy, so I have a DSM-4 condition, you know what I mean? And I should be taking Gila Monster and Venom, right? Because I need to lose weight, because I'm, instead of just maybe not eating for a little bit and changing my diet, which would have me lose weight, I can't do it. And then, you know what? I need to be beautiful, because I've been told my whole life through social engineering that I'm not beautiful. And the thing that's not beautiful are wrinkles. Folks, I'm going to tell you something. I think wrinkles are fly. All right. Especially when they're right here on the sides of the eyes, because that means you've been smiling a lot in your life. And why in the world would you want to give up that wisdom sign? You know what I'm saying? For anybody.
Amen.
So we have to unlearn some things. And I think that's where we're going to be seeing tonight is we have to unlearn some addictive habits with our phone and our technology. All right. And this is where it comes down to. I don't know about you all, but I've caught myself like late last year, walking around the house with my phone in my hand, not even using it, just carrying it around from point A to point B. Like I couldn't be without my phone. And, that's clearly addictive behavior. So I had to stop and go, okay, this isn't healthy. How do I stop it? And I started making some changes. But I didn't understand until recently how important those changes were. So let me ask you all this watching it. And first of all, let me back up for a second. Huge shout out to everyone on the research teams that has been putting in all of this yeoman's work. You can go and see their names on the research contribution page on the EMF guide. We're going to show you how to get all that stuff and everything for free. We got great videos to share with you, all that stuff. But what I wanted to say first was just, we have a tendency to think the world's going to hell in a handbasket. And in some places it is. But the light is stronger. And every time you feel like there aren't good people out there in the world, remember that all the people that are associated with what we're doing behind the scenes are good people. And remember that all of you who are attracted to what we are doing here and forming this larger global community are good people. And as long as we exist, the light will be maintained. That's our job right now. Maintain it and then pass it on. Maintain it, grow it, pass it on, which is what we're all doing here. So I have a simple question for you all. If you saw, Dr. Jan, you want to play around with me for a second with this? All right, go ahead, unmute. Let's play around and we'll see what everybody says on the chat. If you saw an antenna, okay, an electrical antenna with electricity coming off of it, would you go and grab that antenna?
Never.
Never, right? Never. How many of you online say never, to that? Good. Okay, we're getting a lot of no's on there. Good. You got it. Now, what if I told you you're doing that every time you hold your phone? Every time you hold your phone, Dr. J, you are holding 5 antennas.
Yeah.
One for the nationwide network,
right.
One for Wi-Fi, one for Bluetooth, one for GPS for your, Waze or Google Maps to figure out where you're going, because we don't have Thomas guides anymore. We can't remember where we're going for some reason anymore, right? And then number 5, y'all ready for this one? Because we're going to turn this sucker off tonight.
Do it.
Number 5 is an ultra wideband network antenna that was installed in modern iPhones and Androids, and I think Google devices as well. Dr. J, have you ever been having a conversation with somebody and then later in the day you start seeing ads about what you were having a conversation about?
Absolutely. Yes.
Do you want to turn that off? Because you actually have given them permission to eavesdrop and collect all your information. You want to turn that off right now?
I think I already have, but let's go through it.
Well, let's do it with everybody. You all ready for this?
Everybody.
Here we go, everybody. Starting out. Who's ready to turn off? Who's ready to turn off a eavesdropping, nonsensical thing that we inadvertently allowed them to say yes to. You ready? We'll do
Sure.
iPhone first, and then we'll do Android for everybody, okay? So here's coming on screen, the iPhone. You ready? We got some nice screenshots here, easy to turn it off. Ultra wideband chip that they installed. This is the 5th of them, okay? So the first thing that you're going to do on your iPhone, for those of you who have an iPhone, is you're going to, let's scroll down to where it is. You're going to go to your settings on your iPhone. And I'm going to go slow with everybody because I know some folks are like, I don't know where this is. Don't panic, okay? We'll put these links in the chat. And then for those of you who are watching on a replay, you'll be able to go and Google this all over the place, okay? Go to your settings on your iPhone. The next thing you're going to do is go to your privacy. It's also some people's called privacy and security. Click on that. Now, when you click on privacy and security, you're going to go to location services. If yours is off, which would be high five, good job. The location services is what's used for your Google Maps and Waze and everything. If it's off, high five, turn it back on temporarily because I want to show you something else. Then you can turn it back off in a second. Then after you go to that, you're going to go to system services. See how they bury this stuff all the way back, all the way down at the bottom of a menu. Go to system services. So far, so good, everybody?
Yeah,
Okay.
good.
Now in system services, look at everything that's turned on. There's you giving them, just like Dr. Ardis was talking about, giving the devil permission to listen in to you. They can't forcibly take control to establish what they call dominion. They have to get it from you, and they can use whatever tactic they want. But one of the things they have to tell you is the truth at some point. So I'll tell you on this menu, the key is to turn off networking and wireless. That supposedly turns off this ultra wideband network. I turn all of it off except for 2. The only 2 I have on are the emergency calling and SOS, and I'm considering turning that one off too, because if I needed it, I could just turn it back on. But the other one I haven't tested yet is Wi-Fi calling, and I keep Wi-Fi calling activated because when I'm at home, my phone stays connected to Wi-Fi, but not the nationwide network. And that's what lowers EMF production in your phone. Okay? See, what you want to understand is we have 5 antennas in our phone. They're always emitting in 2 ways, getting information, sending information. And most of them we're not using. You really only need, in almost every circumstance, 1 antenna on at a time if you're using your phone. So we have to get into a better habit. So now that you've turned off all the ones you want to turn off right there, go ahead and go back to this previous menu where you have location services at the top, and now turn that off too. What you just turned off was the ultra wideband network that's listening into everything you're doing. You're being tracked and traced. And you just now, with the second location services turned off, you turned off your GPS. You turned off 2 of your 5 phone antennas right there. They're under your control. When I'm going to go drive around and I need some directions, what do you think I'm going to do?
What was that one again?
Say it again.
Which one was that again?
The location services.
Yeah. Is that the one you did?
That's the, turn off location services now. And now you have the GPS off as well. Now you're technically, from what the tech guys say, you're off grid. Okay.
Right.
Pretty cool, right? See, the idea with this is with those 2 off, they don't necessarily know where you are now. And whenever I want to get in my vehicle and I need directions someplace, I'll just turn that antenna back on while I'm using Waze or while I'm using Google Maps, and then I'll turn it back off when I'm done with it again. All right? Because each antenna, healers, is a huge EMF emitter. So if you have all 5 running at the same time, your phone is on maximum EMF output. By turning these antennas off, you just dropped your EMF exposure. Now, you want to hear something else before we go over to the Android version? Shielding doesn't work. Oh, wait a minute. What? What are you saying, Dr. H? You
What are you
heretic.
saying?
What are
I'm
you saying?
saying that we've spent about $20,000 testing products on shielding. And the next one that I test that works will be the first one that works.
I hope our audiences haven't spent that $20,000 because we did that for you.
We
So you don't
did
have to
that
waste your
for
time
you.
doing that.
That's what I'm saying, right? So the idea here, healers, is very simple. If you want to shield yourself from your an EMF, turn the device off. Okay, let me tell you, I want to share with you my habits after what we've learned doing all this testing that we just shot videos for and everything. My phone, when I'm at home or at my office, I will only have Wi-Fi on. I do not have the LTE nationwide network on. I do not have my Bluetooth on unless I'm listening to some music or something. The GPS and that ultra wideband stay off. So only one antenna is working when I need it. And then when I'm not really using my phone, I actually turn the Wi-Fi off as well and just put it in airplane mode and let it sit on a grounding mat. Okay? Because the grounding mat zeroes all of that crap out. And now my EMF exposure has fallen off a cliff in my local presence. You see, that's the real key with all of this. We've been thinking about this wrong, and I am convinced, and I don't have evidence to substantiate this, I want to be clear, but just on what we know historically of everything and all the stuff we've been sharing with you, I am convinced that shielding is a CIA op. It's an incredible misdirection for us to waste precious resources and time thinking we're doing something to protect our health that is doing JSN. And if you want to know what that stands for, the first one is Jack, and the last letter is nothing. You can figure out what the S stands for, okay? It's doing nothing for it. In fact, we tested several products that are supposed to be like phone shields and phone sleeves and computer shields and stuff like that. We tested several of them, and guess what happened? It actually amplified the EMFs coming off of them, okay? And it took seconds to be able to figure this stuff out. That's what was so really demoralizing. It wasn't some magical hardcore test I was doing. Now, we did back it up with testing using a voltmeter and checking our AC and our DC voltage and seeing what's happening with it. And I'm going to explain that to you a little bit in a second. But I want you to get one thing through your head right now. There is no greater shield than Mother Earth. And if you're really concerned about EMFs, turn the things that are producing the EMFs off. It saves money and it's clearly safer. So for me, when I'm moving my phone, for example, from the house to my vehicle, guess what I do? I just turn it off. And then it can stay on my body because it's off. And then when I get in the vehicle, I put it in a little cradle, little phone cradle, and I turn it back on. If you aren't willing to do that, I can't help you, honestly, all right? Because it's super simple and it's actually the most cost effective. So let's go ahead and look at Android now. And I pulled up a specific article when we looked at Android because I want you to understand why that ultra wideband network exists, that hidden network exists. This article is written by Jack Wallen, and he's saying how you should enable the ultra wideband on your Android and why you should. One of the reasons that they're arguing you should have this enabled if it's not enabled is because this is going to help you turn on your electric car when you get close enough to it. It's going to help you unlock your door so you don't have to have the inconvenience of a physical key anymore. They're already trying to take physical paper money away from us. They're also trying to take physical keys away from us as well. Because who gets to control your car, your home, if it's all on digital locks? They do. And when Klaus says, "Sie will own nothing and sie will like it," what they are saying is, we are going to get you to pay for your own imprisonment, your own enslavement. And that's what we see with these digital wallets. And you have to have a digital passport and all this other crap to move around. They're putting Hitler's vision into a much more modified structure of propaganda that we are buying into. So let's go see how to turn on, which means turn off, the ultra wideband on a Samsung, okay, or an Android phone. So the first things you go to is you open your settings in your Android, just like you did on the iPhone. And then you go to your connection preferences, and you'll see something about Bluetooth, Android Auto, NFC. And you want to make sure that the UWB is turned off. Ultra wideband is turned off. So it's a little bit easier on an Android than it is because it's so buried on an Apple device. Okay. So I'm going to go over to the chat room because I want to move a little slower with this. This is very important stuff. This is how you get them to stop listening in to everything you're doing and tracking everywhere you go and every little thing about you. Let's go ahead and see right now if everybody's feeling good about, wait a minute, I just got a little bit of control back in my life, right? Because that's what we do here at Healing for the Ages. We deal you back in. How many of you doing this right now are feeling good, like I got a little bit more control in my life? And we'll put the links in the chat right now too for everybody. Wow. What do you think, Bryan?
While you were doing that with the Android stuff, because I don't have an Android, I decided on my laptop to see if the same antennas were in my laptop.
Ooh, what did you find?
Well, the first thing I found in the system services was a location, location services enabled. And I was like, wait a minute, they can track where I'm going with my laptop? That's weird. Okay, so I just turned that off. I didn't go looking into the rest of it, but I'm pretty sure if they can put all those antennas in this little bitty phone, I bet you they can put it in my bigger laptop.
You know they can. And you know they will. I'm going to go check mine.
Oh, and I did say that I did see, I thought this was awesome, actually. I may use this every single day. It actually has a lockdown mode. And it actually says if you enable this only when you believe you are being threatened by cybersecurity. You turn this on and it really limits the function of your laptop, but you can get on websites and do stuff, but it'll just be restricted. But if you believe you've been infiltrated or being tracked through your device, turn this on and they won't be able to track you. That's a lockdown mode in the phone or on the laptop. I've never seen that. I have a Mac.
That's crazy. This is crazy pill stuff, y'all. I mean, how many of you have gotten tired of having to have, like, we had a password. You have a password for a reason, right? That's supposed to keep you protected. And I only know the password so I can get in, right? And now it's password. And then they send you a code to your phone that you then have to type that code into your phone, right? Why? Because they're trying to get you to this phone being absolutely indispensable in your life. You cannot exist without your phone. Why? Because they have the ability to track everything you're doing and know exactly where you are all the time. Because what's our habit that we've taught ourselves and sadly our children? What have we taught them? That phone better be on you always, because, oh my God, heaven forbid you might have a flat tire somewhere and need mommy or daddy. I need to know about it, right? Heaven forbid you solve a problem on your own without your phone like we all did. Okay, we have to let go of this addictive behavior. We just have to. And the best way to do it, folks, keep that phone off your body. When you are talking to people, make sure you have speakerphone on or some plug-in. When you are talking to someone using your phone, put your phone on a grounding pad or on Mother Earth's surface. She's your shield. And now you can use it very well, safely, with no significant, no harm that I can test for coming off of the phone. But if that phone is in your hand, and how many of you have had this experience? Dr. J, have you felt this before ever? You're holding your phone too long and your hand starts tingling?
Yes.
Right?
Usually right away.
that is a sign of toxic EMF accumulation in the nervous system and in the interstitial fluid.
Turn it either on speakerphone and put it away from me if I'm talking, but I don't hold it.
Okay, you want some good news? Guess what the minimal safe distance is from your phone when it's in use? 12 inches.
Oh, that's great.
You keep that phone 12 inches from you, every single inch, the EMFs producing from that phone drop off a cliff, exponentially fall off. By the time you get a foot or more from your phone, it's negligible. We proved it. We tested it all out and videoed the whole damn thing. Okay, folks, all we have to do is get into a better relationship. We don't have to give up the technology. We just have to get into a better relationship with it. Okay, so I'm going to show a couple things here for you all, and then we'll see if we can get some questions going. Man, fun stuff, right? The more,
Yeah, I love it.
I mean, this is like, it was so much fun. Everybody turning off that ultra wideband one. It was like, because we were testing, right? We were testing the phones out. And I turned off all the antennas and I was like, why am I still seeing pulses coming off of my phone? You know, and I'm like, what is going on with this? There's got to be another antenna. So I actually went to see how do you repair your phone to see what the schematics were on the different phone models. And sure enough, 5 antennas, not 4. And that's that ultra wideband one. And that's the one that actually, thank God, see, there's good people you've never met. Some tech geeks, when that first came out, Apple and Android released it secretly. The tech geeks went and, you know, the guys that go in and actually break down the phone as soon as it comes out, took it all apart and was like, what's that? And they went off on them. And at first you couldn't turn it off. There was no menu to turn it off. Because the tech geeks went off on Apple and went off on Android, they had to go in and install software and a very rapid update, like within weeks, to make sure people had some semblance of control or think they have some semblance of control over their phone. What do you think, Ed? I see a face on you right now. You're like the Sphinx. What am I seeing right now? You're on mute.
Yeah. I feel vindicated a lot because it's like we've been talking about this for 10, 15 years. You know, we tried to stop 5G towers from going up before they even went up. I mean, the evidence on the directed energy weapons and the link between the frequencies, I mean, we called out Comcast for putting 5G in their routers like 6 years ago, which was no one even knew. It was like buried in the terms and conditions, like on page 6 in a tiny little writing where it says Comcast has the ability to install 5G capabilities inside your router. And then we found out that pretty much everybody's home is a directed energy weapon with a router in it. I mean, it's nice. You know, we've come a long way from those days, you know, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And like I was saying to everybody, and I've been saying to everybody since the pandemic, and I know this because I was on the Trump's task force for the working for the government for the COVID task force. And we knew very, you know, let's say a couple months in, well, we all quit anyway, but the talk was not really about the pandemic, the internal talk. At the same time, Operation Warp Speed was going on, there was Operations Telecommunications Upgrade. And the big part of locking everybody down was to upgrade all the towers everywhere. Yep. And to install all these frequencies. They need these frequencies to be able to and convince everybody, instead of calling it a directed energy weapon, we're just going to call it a smart device. That sounds good, doesn't it?
Meanwhile, it's making us all weaker and weaker, right?
And dumber and dumber and creating all kinds of, you know, activity and sugar uptake of the mold, the bioweapons that they're using. And it's all connected and it's all run through the W-band, the wide body area network, the medical body area network, you know, the aura. It's really an attack on our biofield, our energy field of our system, and it gets really, really deep when you look at all of the technology of how they can control thoughts, how they can control your actions, they can put thoughts in your head. They can initiate, you know, chemical reactions inside your body. I mean, look, hey, we have documentation that shows that you can create the exact same symptoms of COVID with 5G pulses.
Yep.
It's a huge thing. I mean, it's a huge thing, and it's one of the most resistant things that people are trying to do. It's why we tell people to consume iodine. You know, iodine is really good at absorbing and blocking radiation in your body. You know, do the grounding and all of your research that you're coming out with, and chaga mushroom and all the things that protect you from radiation internally, and it's everywhere basically. They've blanketed. They started with the HARP system years ago with the extremely low frequencies. It's a multitude of frequencies that they can use, from extremely low to ultrasonic to radio frequencies to 3G, 4G, 5G, 6G, up to 10G. Yeah, one of my favorite books. That's the like.
You know
one of
what?
the
You know what
books
just blew
I've
me away
read.
about this, Ed? You know what blew me away about this? 3,000, I think, I don't know if it's milligauss or Gauss, but a magnetic field of 3,000 is enough to knock people out. Knock you out as if you were on anesthesia. You won't wake up until the magnetic field is released. Right. And that's where I'm concerned about the capability of these 5G towers, and can they emit, and in what range can they emit a magnetic field of that strength, to be able to just, you're going to bed. Everybody in that neighborhood, night. We're done with you right now. Okay. That's what is so concerning.
We shifted the conversation away from vaccine, and we're now calling it what it really is a bioweapon. We need to shift the conversation away, cell phone towers and 5G, and call it what it really is, a directed energy weapon.
Right. Well, here, let me jump in and get through some of this stuff, because we have this guide, and folks, believe me, this is a huge conversation. Please do not feel like you are going to get it all tonight. Please do not feel like you're going to understand everything by tomorrow. What we want you to get today is one thing that you can use. So we already gave you, hey, let's turn off the government and Google and Apple listening into every conversation. All that's gone. Okay. At least it's supposed to be. Now let's deal you in a little bit more with habits and things like that. All right. So I'm going to show you a couple more things on screen. I'm going to show you a couple things in the guide that you can get for free. Big shout out to, Jordan and Bonnie on my team at the Energetic Health Institute, Sol, Sophia, Mitch, Lars. I mean, we had so many people contributing to putting this guide together so quickly for you all. I really hope you love it. And it comes as a labor of love off of 6 months of testing and research. And these folks on screen know how frustrated I was getting with all the shielding stuff. I would call up just, me, profane rants. Son of a I was just beside myself with all this stuff. But look at this, folks. Let's go over here real quick. Let me cue this up.
Yeah, when he would start those rants is when I learned how to turn off my antennas on my phone. Wait, how did he say to turn this off again?
Yeah, just mute. All right, so folks, one of the things we put together on the Energetic Health Institute site, and we are going to make sure we duplicate this on the Healing for the Ages site, is companies we trust. And we've organized some supplements right there. So supplements, so you see Global Healing and Ardis Labs, and Jana's All Natural better be on here. Yeah, there it is. We got to move you up the chain. We got to put you up at the top. But if you're interested in getting your water purification systems put together, we have the Alexa Pure, the H2O Lab Distiller, the Wellness Enterprise, Water Structure. We have everything laid out for you on grounding as well. So from how to build the key is going to be a grounding sleep system. We're going to do a whole nother thing on that because we don't have enough time tonight for it, but it's key, and it is in the guide on how to build your grounding sleep system. The idea being that for 8 hours, let's say you're sleeping for 8 hours every night. For 8 hours, you are grounded, connected to Mother Earth. Those EMFs and everything are not going to mess with you. You're going to have the best sleep you have had in a long time. That is the consistent thing we hear from everybody who started setting up their grounding sleep systems, where you have.
I agree. Amen.
Are you liking it? You liking it?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, my wife and I both love it. That's all we sleep with.
Yep. There you go. And then Huga is a place where you can go and get mats for your workstations, for your computer, for your phone. I have them under my router and my cable modem and everything. Anything that's emitting, I want it on a ground so that it can lower EMF production within my house and make it safer for me and everybody, especially my fuzzy babies running around. We have stuff on saunas, of course, but I wanted to show this right here. A great place to find where you can find farms local to you, regenerative ag, biodynamic, things like that. And what we were talking about earlier, clean meats. Want to give a big shout out to White Oak Pastures, and we're going to keep vetting and adding more meat places you can go and purchase from. they've made a formal and a very clear commitment to no MRA, no shots in any of their meat. All right, so there are some places coming online where you can find that. I also wanted to point out here for everybody, if you wanted to put in Stop Drinking the Lies and Energetic Health Institute, this will come up and it'll show you how to build your water system. You know, we have a whole thing on how to build out your water system and why, for those of you who may have missed the conference, but of course, check out the conference. That's where you get the best of it. And then lastly, we're going to put this in the chat room right now for everybody. Go to Energetic Health Institute, EMF-guide-sign-up. And that's going to be where you can go and sign up. We have a great video right here, about 18 minutes long, explaining everything. So I'm not going to spend time with that tonight. Watch the video. Okay, it explains a lot of what's going on. Put in your email, get the free guide, and then that'll take you to a thank you page where you can download the guide straight away and start reading on it. And this is what you're going to get. In the guide, you're going to find several things. First and foremost, you are going to find some information about what you're feeling, and especially right here. This difference between the measurements of voltage, AC or alternating current, and voltage, DC, direct current. If you're taking notes, and we hope you are, this is a class tonight. Anytime you're talking about voltage, AC, alternating current, you're talking about something that's man-made. Anytime you're talking about voltage, DC, direct current, you're talking about what's God-made. Your body works on DC current, okay? So the goal is to have your AC voltage at 0. Now, I'm on Zoom, I'm around all this technology and everything right now. You want to see what my AC voltage is? That should be 0. My AC voltage, let me see if I can grab this right here. I'll put this, I'm going to do a little funky thing with my hand here. Let me see if I can figure out how to do this. Because I need that opposable thumb. Let's see if I do it like that. Does that work? There we go. Can you see on the screen what it says? That's not 0. And that's AC voltage. I'm supposed to be 0 and I'm way above 0. But what happens when I touch my computer that's grounded? Look how it dropped. Did you see that?
That's cool.
That's just me putting my thumb on my computer. That's telling me I have myself set up right. So we have some people that get grounding mats for indoors and stuff like that. Here's the note that you want to make for yourself, healers. Do not ground yourself when you're touching technology. It'll go through you. Ground your technology and then you touch it. That's the correct orientation for yourself, for your circuit. Okay. And all of that is maintained in here. I just want to point out a couple things in the guide. I'm going to go right to the sleep system because this is the big enchilada for you all, and we will talk much more about this. See, these are all, look what happens when we're on Mother Earth's surface. There you go, 0 for AC, right? How cool is that? That's how it's supposed to be. And it happens instantly. It happens instantly. She protects you as soon as you make contact with Mother Earth. Instantaneous. That's why they want you to shield. Because that don't do, S-H-I-T. Look at this. Putting your sleep system together. We're going to encourage you to do a couple things, healers. Very simple. With your mattress, put a waterproof, hypoallergenic, mold-resistant cover on it. If there is some mold in your bed, it'll at least trap it in there. But if there is no mold in your bed, you have a new mattress, it'll protect it from developing mold. So that's always number one for your sleep system. We don't want you breathing in mold at night, and mattresses are a major source of mold for people's exposure. Number two, you can go to a place like earthing.com and get an elite mattress cover. I'll show you a picture in a second. That's going to form a very nice connection through your grounding outlet and your home. Now, keep in mind, if your home has to be wired properly first. So there's some things to do to check it. We'll talk more about that in a future masterclass. And then you're going to put a fitted sheet on top of it that can conduct. So if you got that mat right here, that mattress cover, and then you put like a even organic linen, top sheet on top of it, you're not going to be grounded. We already tested it. It doesn't work. You have to get a fitted sheet to go on top of your bed so that the fitted sheet will conduct along with the mat that you're on. And now all night long, your voltage AC goes to 0 and your voltage DC does what it's supposed to do. It charges up and becomes increasingly more negative until it hits steady state. That's what happens when you're healing. And that's what we're seeing working for people already, especially people recovering from these damn shots. So what does it look like? On my mattress right here, you see there is a waterproof mattress cover. Here is the Elite grounding mat. And then do you see the lines in the sheets right there? That's a grounding sheet that goes over the top. When I touch the sheets, I can show you that I have continuity. I can show you that I am grounded just by touching the sheets. And look what happens when I run a tri-field over my bed now. 0 electric EMFs. You are now creating the ideal system for your body to sleep and restore itself all night long away from the EMFs that may be around you. Now, of course, we're still recommending turn off your router, keep your phone away from your bed, turn your phone off at night. But the thing that we're showing here is that you can be connected to Mother Earth for 8 hours a night while you're sleeping. And she is going to protect you and put your body in the most ideal circumstance to heal. So please read through the whole guide. We will come back to this. There's a lot of information in here. You know me by now. I am not brief, proudly, at all. Okay? Because we want to be thorough with what we're doing. And so when we get into our grounding habits, the other thing I'll show you right here at the bottom, there's actually a picture of my router and my modem right there. Look what it's on, a grounding mat. All my tech that I use stays grounded. Around the house, I have a couple grounding stations. So if I want to change from my office to just take a phone call or something like that, I have a place where I can go and put my phone on or put my computer on and go work somewhere else. So what we're going to encourage you to do, healers, is real simple. Go to energetichealthinstitute.org, sign up for the free guide, watch the videos. There's one video here. There'll be one video on the thank you page. It will explain a lot in a very, very convincing, undeniable way. We prove what we do. And make sure you get that guide, read it, and start putting things into play one step at a time. And we'll keep coming back to this throughout the year, just like we did last year with the water. These are important, crucial elements to your ability to navigate this minefield of bioweapons that we are unearthing every single day. And I hope you enjoy it. And just want to say thank you again to everybody on the research teams that's put so much in it. And thank you to everybody in the production teams, folks. This was a massive effort to bring this for you tonight. And we're so honored to give it to you for free, because this is the information that's going to save a lot of lives in a big, big way.
And thank you, Dr. Ely. I'd just like to say that the pictures you showed of the grounding mat, the grounding sheets, my wife and I bought the exact same ones you did and have been sleeping on it ever since. And it's incredible, actually. Ely said he said every day from the time he put that on, he wakes up before his alarm does for the first time in his life. And I can actually attest to that after the first night. I've actually woken up before every alarm every single day. It's pretty amazing. And I don't usually do that. I enjoy the snooze. But anyway, not anymore. I don't have to do it. All right, so that's great. But I do want you to know, too, that those devices are not very expensive. It was less than $400, and I was super excited that the whole thing was less than like $400. So these aren't expensive things, and we're spending a majority of our life. I mean, a majority of our life on those mattresses that we sleep on every night. So this is just something simple we can do, and I want to applaud you. I do want the world to know, too, and our team. This week, I actually saw online there are many, many articles talking about debunking grounding pads and grounding sheets and grounding mattress pads. And all of the debunking, all they claim in all the articles is They say in the articles that people are attempting to do grounding and are being marketed with an idea that if you lay yourself on a grounding mat or on a grounding mattress pad or sheet, that the companies selling it to you are telling you that this will draw energy from the earth, bring it into your bed, and put it into your body. That's what all those articles say. And then they all say that theory has been debunked. Nothing is coming from the ground into your wire that leads to your mattress pad and puts energy into you. That is not what these are designed to do. That is not what they're telling you that it does. It's taking extra built up electricity that's in your body and putting it back in the earth. The earth's not giving you stuff. It's taking it away from you to help balance out your life. So
well, hold on. I'm going to debunk that. What they're trying to say. You are actually bringing electrons into your body. We can measure this.
Sure.
That's what, when you see your DC voltage and you're connected to the earth and you see your DC voltage increasing, the only way you can become more negative in terms of that increase is if electron transfer is happening. Yep. So and Chevalier wrote, who's a physicist, he was at Caltech, now he's at University of California, San Diego. He wrote a brilliant piece explaining the physics of how this actually happens. And the measurement is super simple. It's just you're measuring your volt DC. Dr. Becker talked about it too, and so did Lukovsky. They're all talking about it. So when these folks are coming out saying that that's not happening, that's part of that CIA op.
Oh yeah, totally.
Right there, you know?
Yep. Yeah, so I just want you to know that you're going to find debunking crap and they're going to be talking about this. No, we're testing out the technology. We're seeing and feeling the benefits ourselves, and technology-wise, we can prove that it's working. And Ely's team and research has been phenomenal. So I want to applaud you for that. All right, so great presentations. I'm very proud of y'all. Any questions, Jana? Any last words there, Ed Group, before we turn over some questions I think Ely can help us orchestrate?
Yep.
No, just the fact that everything's an energy and vibration, and that just goes hand in hand with what Masaru Emoto showed with the water in the body. You know, when your body on a grounding mat for 8 hours at night is in a relaxed state and your DC voltage is going up, your water in your body crystallizes into perfect crystallized snowflake-like crystals, and then your body can actually communicate and the cells can communicate with each other. That's 8 hours of your body healing and being in the perfect voltage and electrical balance to heal and to regenerate, instead of being out of whack all night long. And you're not doing anything but sleeping and your body's healing itself. So very powerful.
I love it.
I'll
Great
just
job.
leave you with a quote from Albert Einstein: the more I study science, the more I believe in God.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep.
Amazing.
All right, so we have any questions there? I hope the audience enjoyed this conversation. I learned a lot.
Yeah, right. Remember in January when you were looking at me, you were like, are you going to figure this shit out? I was like,
on top of reading that huge textbook on quantum dots, you're going to figure this out, Ely? Come on.
you know, what was crazy about it was that quantum dot book is what started it all. It took me like, I think we were like 8 or 9 articles in reading that, because it was just a whole collection of the peer-reviewed articles. And there was this one little line about there being a hole in the ground state, which allows for the quantum dot to steal the electron and hold the electron in the field. And so that's when the light bulb went on. I was like, well, what happens if we fill in that hole? Well, how do we fill in that hole? By grounding our bodies, and then you fill in the hole. And that's what we're seeing on a lot of the those microscopic readings. We're seeing that when we ground those blood samples, all the little movement and everything stops. And then when you bring the phone next to it, they start moving all over the place again. You know, it's some crazy, crazy stuff. We're gonna have to bring Maria and Wendy on to just share some of their videos with everybody and show them what's going on in the blood. It's nuts.
It's incredible stuff. All right, is there any questions we want to answer? It's 8:47 my time. We got about 13 more minutes, I think.
Yeah. Go ahead, everybody. Remember, we got to end with gratitude. So go ahead and start putting some questions in. I will do my best to filter through a few of them here. Let's see what we got here. Let's see. First one coming up is, what is the best blue light blocking glasses? What do you think?
Ely's probably wearing them.
These are Theraspecs. Right here is the company I use. But I also turn off the blue light on my screens and everything. And I like, if you normal person looking at my screens thinks that they look red to them. And I'm like, yeah, that's how they're supposed to look, you know?
So I think Health Ranger carries a good one. Is it
Mhm.
called Groovy Bee or something? Have you guys used those? They're yellow. Those are my favorite.
Next question goes, so many people are taking Ozempic. Do the bad side effects happen to everyone? I only know a few people that take it and they seem fine. I'm not doubting you. I'm just wondering.
Well, try it out.
No,
Please don't.
Please don't try it out.
Don't do it.
He's messing with me.
Don't do
No, don't
it.
do that. Yep.
Oh my God.
I don't know
I've
about y'all,
been-
but I do know some people that were actually being poisoned with arsenic by their spouses, and they still didn't die.
Whoa.
So it doesn't mean that arsenic's not poison. I'm surprised every single day in practice. How about you guys? When in practice, I had some people showing up in my practice with 20 different prescriptions that they had been taking for some of them 20 years.
Wow.
And I remember looking at the list going, you take all these drugs every day. How do you wake up every morning? I'm worried about just one drug, not much less 20 at one time. I have no idea how much poisoning this is. I just want to reiterate this. It has been phenomenal for me to witness the incredible ability of the human body to detox poisons and live through continuous daily poisoning. And it is phenomenal to me. I mean, they use bioweapons, they use telecommunications, they use all kinds of crap in the last 4 years with their bioweapon technology. And still 99% of all human beings on the earth that God created still survived. Even if you got sick, you still survived. And it's phenomenal, to me, a testament of what God's creation is. So I just wouldn't play Russian roulette with venoms or poisons. I don't like that idea. So I'm really grateful that not everybody that got the COVID-19 vaccines got myocarditis. I mean, there was billions of shots that went out, but not billions of people died. So the fact that a lot of people survived does not make it to where I want to go try a COVID-19 shot. I still didn't go get it, even though I had a whole bunch of people tell me they weren't affected. They don't think, well, good for you. I'm not doing it. I know a lot of people, I've read stories of people playing Russian roulette several times and living through every party, but I would never spin that revolver chamber. I would never play that game. Even if they told me 50 or 60 or 70% of people live when they play it, I don't care. I'm not playing that game, man. I love my life. And I like living a life that's symptom free and not having vomiting 24/7. I like not having thyroid cancer or the risk of it within 12 months. I just like that stuff. So I say avoid it.
Stop making sense, Dr. Ardis, please.
I just say, don't do it.
Please stop it. Just cut it out. Okay. All right. This next one's for Dr. Group. Dr. Group, what do you think about drinking water out of copper cups, copper vessels?
Yeah, well, I mean, here's what we've noticed is it's you really have to get tested because some people have high copper levels and some people have low copper levels, depending on the environment in which you live. And in all honesty, most of the copper these days and that's being made in the last 10 or 15 years is not full 99.999 copper. It's got nickel in it and it's got other metals in it. So I just stick with glass because I don't, I'll take a bio-copper, a bioactive copper, or copper one, which is the best form of copper anyway. If you're drinking out of copper, it's probably you're gonna, you're not gonna get copper one out of that anyway. You're gonna get copper two, which is an inorganic mineral. So, you just need to find out what your copper levels are. I mean, it's all over the place. Some people are severely deficient in copper. Some people have excess copper. It's not like I'm saying don't do it. Just if you are doing it, make sure that you have a pure copper vessel that you're drinking out of, and just drink there's lots of benefits of drinking water out of copper. I mean, copper is an antimicrobial, and most people are deficient in copper, but I personally just drink out of glass.
Yeah.
Just mostly not because I don't think it's good to drink water out of copper bottles. It's just that I don't necessarily trust the manufacturers of the copper systems, and I haven't seen one that's in like a 99.9999% pure copper vessel. So
I'd like to ask you a question, Dr. Group. This might answer it for the group, but if you're supplementing with copper one, would you suggest or even need to recommend to people to drink out of copper or anything?
Definitely.
no, you don't, because copper one is the best form of copper. It's the active form of copper. It's the organic form of copper. So if you're taking a copper one supplement, you shouldn't need to you shouldn't need any excess copper.
Right.
You'll save money too. I think glass is cheaper than copper.
100%. And let me tell everybody a story. So January, we all got together. We were doing planning for the year for ages. We had just come from the librarian's place up in Sedona, and it was like this mind-blowing experience, this natural archive of all of this wisdom from dating back to Greece, ancient Greece, which was just blowing my mind. And we went back and we're hanging out, and Dr. Ardis did muscle testing on me, and found in the muscle testing that I was severely copper deficient. So we went with Dr. Group's bioactive copper that you can get both through Global Healing and through Dr. Ardis's site. And I started feeling way better. Now, what is copper going to do? It's going to help with the conduction of electrons. Now, I was also changing a couple things. I started earthing every morning in addition to grounding at night. I hadn't started actually grounding at night by that time. We were still working on the sleep system, but I'd started earthing in the morning and making sure that I was letting the sun hit my solar plexus in the early morning, just like the Ayurvedics, getting back into some good habits and everything. But I tell you, this copper put everything together. And it just so happens that we got some cool stuff coming for you guys in May at the conference. We're going to be releasing our work on chelation, everybody, and Dr. Ardis and Dr. Group's microsomal EDTA, which is pretty awesome. We're going to be showing that it does some pretty cool stuff that we didn't even realize that it did. But what I did was I did a hair mineral analysis test, and guess what came back on it? Copper was bottomed out. So it was a perfect recommendation, a perfect testing done. And I feel fantastic. In fact, I just ran out of some. I got to order a whole bunch more, Dr. Group. So I'm going to be going to get some more. But what Dr. Group and Dr. Ardis are saying, everybody, is yes, if you want to be absolutely sure, make sure you get your testing done first. And hair mineral analysis is great for something as simple as copper. It'll tell you what you would have going on in the last month or two, something like that. At the Energetic Health Institute, we have health screenings. We have a delayed food allergy. We have a microbiome. We're about to launch a heavy metal screening in April for everybody. So you'll be able to get that hair mineral analysis. You'll also be able to do a urine chelation analysis as well, so that you can see what's coming out of your body before you take a microsomal EDTA and what's coming out after you take the microsomal EDTA. And yes, like Dr. Group said, the microsomal EDTA is so awesome. It does get out even arsenic, and we have proof of that. And we're going to share that with you in May at the virtual conference. So some great stuff going on behind the scenes, and we don't expect you to get it all the first time. So just get that one piece of information that you can take home with you, and know we're going to tell you about it again and again and again and again, because it'll ultimately, light bulb will come on and you'll be like, oh, okay, I get it now. All right.
In fact, a light bulb just went off in
I have
me.
a question for you all. Had you anybody slept on grounding mats before, just regularly?
I hadn't. But when I go camping, I would sleep on the ground and it felt good.
Right. Dr. Group, did you say you did?
I have, yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Well, I was raised part of my life by hippies, so yeah, we did grounding, all that stuff. I knew it was good, but the more I'm learning, like, oh, this is really good. So no wonder I sleep so well. And yeah, so I highly recommend it.
And why Jenna always looks so youthful. She looks like she's 19 years old. I bet you if I asked her if copper was found in bee pollen. Wait, she already nodded her head. Look at her. Yeah, yes. If you want another natural form of copper, eat your bee pollen like Ed Group does, a handful every night. And we do a tablespoon, 2 of them actually every day. You can get your copper there too.
We got a couple of quick questions I can answer real fast. We're getting some questions about why can't I use just a distiller? Why do I have to use the Berkey water thing? Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so folks, here, let me help you out with this. One, that's what we've tested, right? So we've tested the process. That process works. I haven't tested just a single distillation, but I can tell you that what's left over in my distiller when I just do one distillation versus when I do the filtration and then the distillation is very, very different. One of the things I will urge you to do is, when we're sharing something with you right now, is to try it out before you dismiss it, okay? And if you are somebody that's like, look, I'm just going to distill, okay, that's cool, right? It's your life. I believe in free will and all that stuff, okay? at least distill it twice before you drink it. At least send the water through 2 cleansing processes before you put it in your body. Okay. Even if that's just distillation. All right. But I can tell you, we have tested this out. We are going to put together a guide on this as well, a free guide for you. I'm going to show you the results that have come back in. And if that's not good enough for you and you want to still do it your way, guess what? You have the freedom to go and do it your way. All right. Just don't
gonna
come back
be
to me.
spending lots of time and effort cleaning that distiller all the time because
That's
you're
what I'm
gonna have
saying.
so much gunk in there that if you filter it first, it's gonna save you lots of time and effort, and it's gonna save your distiller too, and so your distiller is gonna last a lot longer.
I'm
Amen.
gonna show something to the audience real quick. If you're wondering if you need to actually and should filter your water, go to this website on dwd.org/tapwater/ and all you do is type in your zip code. Watch, I'm gonna show the whole world where I live. Watch this. Ready? Let's see my zip code. Let's see what's here. All right, so this is us. This is where we are. Let's get should tell me everything in here. View it. All right, so there's 19 contaminants they figured out that exceed EWG health guidelines. See that here?
And 38 total contaminants. You see
So look
that?
at this. So look at the numbers. This is my Plano City, Texas water. If you're wondering why it is we're teaching you about water, this is before they're trying to tell you that Iran and Russia are coming and China's coming for you in the next week or two. All right, look, I have 37 times the amount of arsenic in my water. Do you want to know why we're distilling it and why we're actually filtering it? This is why. Bromate. Look at all these chemicals. If you can't pronounce them, you probably shouldn't be swallowing it, just so you know, or showering
By
in
the
it.
way, the most extensive water testing usually only tests for like 100 poisons and contaminants, and there's millions of poisons and contaminants.
Yeah.
I mean, it would cost you $1 million to test a city water for 1 million different contaminants.
I mean, how good is radium for you? I don't know. Look at that, 8.5 times worth. I mean, look at all this stuff. I'm not sure any of these are considered organic or health food items.
Atrazine right there, that's like glyphosate. That's
This one right here.
Yep.
So this is why we're educating you. This is just this is not a very thorough thing, but a very simple, free thing you can do. Go look it up. This is me. Anyway, we love you. And we know if I'm being poisoned, you're being poisoned.
Yep.
Just so you know, we're all being targeted.
Right. We're getting some comments in there too, everybody. Some people are saying, well, look, can't afford everything. Well, couple ideas here. We appreciate that. Number one, that's why we make as many things free as we can, like tonight, right? Number two, the recommendation is find a way. I'm going to tell you all a little story that got me as a doctor out of the people I'm working with, their wallets. I had somebody during the last financial crisis that was manufactured coming in my office with crocodile tears about how she's so broke and losing her house and she's got to move back in with her mom and blah, 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 blah. I start waiving all my fees because I want to help out. I start giving her supplements off the shelf that I couldn't really afford to give her at the time, but I'm giving them out to her. And then after a few sessions, she comes back in, she's feeling better. And you know what she tells me? I went and just bought myself a new $3,000 couch. Okay, folks, we get the world we pay for. Find a way to do it, even if it's in stages, even if you have to save up some money. I get it. I've been broke as a joke a large portion of my life. I understand. But you still find a way when you love yourself the way we're teaching you to love yourself. You find a way. You don't find excuses. You find a way. And that's how you maintain your light. All right, healers? So I don't want to hear the crocodile tears about stuff like that. I want to hear solutions. That's what we're bringing, and that's what I want to hear from you. We got to be resilient here because the devil is pressing. All right? So that's my soapbox for tonight.
And we are always very mindful of what we're researching and what we're studying and what we're going to be recommending, because we obviously don't want to. Notice these are not our products. They're not even our companies. These aren't our stuff that often we're recommending. It's other companies. But we're looking for those things that are effective and aren't going to break most people's budget. So, and you can chip away at these things. And and we're praying that everybody can afford some of these things to start improving their own lives. And if it's just the water filter, great. If you think it's grounding that might be the most effective, go buy the grounding mat first. Then the next month, buy the sheet. And if you want to try to buy the distiller the next year or next week or next month, that's great. Then get the gravity filter after that. That's great. Can't afford the structure. What you're doing without the structure is great and much better than what you were doing. Please don't feel guilty, or we're not going to judge you if you don't have all of it. Don't worry. We're just trying to make your life better and reduce the likelihood that you will be injured by their weapons that they're using. And there's many vectors as group continues to hammer on. And there's much hope that Jana continues to tell you. And there's tons of wonderful technologies that work and things that really don't. And Ely's going to make sure you know.
I'm gonna let you know, and I'm gonna let you know how I feel about some stuff too. Y'all know about that. If I'm not happy with something, I'm gonna let you know. But I think we're at 7 o'clock mark right now. I think it'd be a good time to do some gratitude with everybody, kind of take it down a notch. Dr. Ardis, you want to lead us through a gratitude session and just kind of.
Absolutely. Yeah. First, I'd like to say thank you to my wife, who's actually stood beside me and supported me actually for the last 4 years on a relentless trail of flights and car rides all over this country and world. And I'd like to thank all the audiences here who are tuning in, because that brings a lot of humility and reward to all the effort that we're putting on your behalf. I appreciate all the prayers. I'm grateful for all the prayers on behalf of everybody that comes our way. Constantly, it's my favorite thing to hear from people when they walk up to me all around the world. We're praying for you constantly. And this is really, truly when I mean it. I look at them and I always say, I can tell, because I can feel it. And when I have no fear, when I have no anxiety, when I have no panic, when I'm clear of thought and I'm learning new things, I know that there are many minds and many hearts around the world praying for our team and praying for ourselves, that will be guided and led to the research and to those things that can help better our lives. So I want to thank you all, and thank you for sharing our messages far and wide with those you know and love. And we want the best life. You only get this life once, and we want you to live it as symptom-free as possible, and with as much joy and gratitude, obviously, that you can express as possible. And people who are suffering typically aren't that grateful. I don't know too many people who say, I'm grateful for my suffering. It's not until the suffering goes away that they can say they were grateful for the suffering. So that's our goal, is to create a whole bunch of grateful human beings who were dealing with issues they couldn't resolve. And then hopefully God has helped to inspire us. And through your own faith and prayers, you're finding those answers and being guided to those individuals. We're not the only ones. There's many people in the world that are doing this and are being led by God. So we commend them all, and we salute you all, and thank you for all of your faith and trust in me. It is the most humbling thing I've ever experienced.
Amen.
Dr. Group.
I just ditto whatever Dr. Ardis said. He pretty much wrapped it all up, I think, for all of us. But I mean, being grateful is just such a powerful part. Forgiveness, non-judgment, and being grateful. I mean, we're all souls. We're all God's souls. The mind is the enemy, and the one that gets us in the wrong train of thought, and angry, and all that's done by design to try to get us all fighting against each other. I mean, I'm just grateful that I feel for the first time in 30 years, this people are actually waking up, and it's a wonderful and a beautiful experience when people start taking responsibility for their own health, and they start realizing that this is just a movie. I mean, it's like you're in the Truman Show here, just focus back on yourself and just be grateful for what you have, and the fact that you're alive. You live each day to its fullest. I always say, have the best day ever. I learned that from David Wolf, and there's so much more to that that takes place. So yeah, I'm just grateful to be here. I'm grateful that I can share all my knowledge with everybody, and people will, listen and do their own research and ultimately become their own healer. That's what it's all about. It's reactivating the body's self-healing mechanism, and you becoming confident and having faith in your own self. And once that transformation takes place, you've transitioned to what you really should be and what you really are, which is a enlightened being. And so to be able to watch this whole process take place and understand that this is the great awakening that we're going through, and this is how we grow, and this is how we get to the next level, and this is how we help each other out and become a community and share information with each other. It's amazing. I mean, we're all gonna, buckle up and get ready for the ride of your life. I mean, this is it right here. This is the Great Awakening. It's gonna be an awesome process. Yeah, sure, we're gonna have little bumps in the road, but it's gonna be a wild ride, but it's gonna be a good ride because we're transitioning to that next level of consciousness. And every time we do that, it's always a bumpy road. So I'm just grateful to be part. I mean, I feel like we all, and probably everybody that's listening to this right now, deep in their heart knows that they were put on this planet specifically for this time to become healers and to grow. But to be a healer, to teach other people how to heal, you really need to be grateful that you've been given the knowledge and the know-how as well. I mean, I could have easily gone down the medical route. That's what I was going to do. But, I'm grateful every day that I was led this way instead of the other way. So, yeah, I'm just grateful to be alive and grateful that we can help out and grateful that we can be here and grateful that we can figure out. I mean, most of the stuff, believe it or not, guys, like, God like lays this stuff in our lap when we're meditating and we're asking for it. What is the solution to the nanobots, or what is the solution to this? I'm grateful that, it could take years of like digging through and going to the library and digging this, but it's just like you put the intention out there and you put the energy out there, and then the answer just comes to you from God. And it's just an amazing experience that we all go through right now. So I'm just, like I said, I'm just grateful. I'm grateful to be here and share information and be part of this whole community and, watching this whole transformation happen.
Dr. Schmidt.
Well, I just want everybody to know that the foundation of why we do this is love for God-given natural solutions, love for all the people that need help, love, and God's bringing these people together. It's just been amazing to see. So everyone that's just joined us with the Healing for the Ages teams, I mean, we're talking about, everybody, this is incredible. Everyone listening here too, like we're getting stronger together, and it's absolutely incredible that when we share our knowledge and the things that God's laid on our hearts or revealed to us, and then you go on and share it too with others. Like I've seen this just domino effect of all this amazing knowledge shown in the spirit of the way we shared it, right, out of love, and then it's just growing. So this movement is incredible. I'm honored to be a part of it. These three here just amaze me every day, constantly learning new things. So y'all keep listening. We'll keep sharing as much as we possibly can. I'm super, super honored to be a part of all of it. So thank you. Thanks everybody for joining us.
And I think we all can say the same. We are very honored that you're with us and have joined us and was willing to, right? All right, Dr. Ely.
Simple stuff. Well, first of all, I'm grateful for all of y'all. I mean, and really big shout out to Dr. Ardis for the vision to bring everybody together and have this and create this wonderful life experience for all of us to be able to collaborate together and have something in our careers that we didn't know we were ever going to have. You got to appreciate most of us on this call, y'all. It's been nothing but crap that we've had to deal with, for most of our careers: naysayers, doubters, haters,
Death threats,
review boards, death threat. I mean, you're talking crazy stuff we got to deal with just to, remain in God's light, which we're willing to do, of course. But there's strength in numbers. And so the four of us coming together, this is the greatest experience of my professional career. I'm grateful to Dr. Ardis and Dr. Group and Dr. Schmidt for letting me hang out and be a part of it. You know what I mean? Like it's dope. I'm super grateful for our research teams and all of our production teams at our companies and everything, all the people that make it happen, our families that support us to do all this as well. They sacrifice so much for us to be able to do this for all of you. I'm grateful in a huge way to Mother Earth for what we are learning more and more. She provides, and God has made it so. And it's just such a wonderful thing to get that affirmation through it all. One of the things I like to share with people is that we aren't on a journey of enlightenment. We're on a journey of re-enlightenment. And that's our mission as the four of us together and everybody that's supporting us. When we are born, we're enlightened. You can see it in every baby. And we lose that. And for a lot of us, we have to take a journey back to it. that journey of re-enlightenment. And many of you who are supporting us right now are on that journey for yourself. So I want to give you 2 easy ways to know that you're on the right path. This is super simple. You express gratitude and you express grace. When you express gratitude, it's being thankful. When you express grace, it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay for you to make mistakes. You don't have to judge yourself, and it's okay for people around you to make mistakes, right? It's just a mistake. Okay, if it wasn't ill-intended, we don't have to really put a whole lot of negative energy on it. So for us coming together, we're all on this path, and it's wonderful. And I think that for me personally, it's the greatest experience of my life right now. And it's important when you're in those moments, everyone, to be incredibly grateful for those moments, because even in all this darkness, it brought all of the light together. And you all are a major part of that light. And do not underestimate the power that you possess. You are a crucial, essential, major part of that light. We're just 4 crazy people with some degrees talking without y'all. But together, we can shape the next 1,000 years. And that's the power that we possess.
Well, let me just sum it up. And Ely, that was beautiful. We love you. I love you, Dr. Ely. I love you, Dr. Group. I love you, Dr. Schmidt. And Mitch Moore, I love you, brother, even though I see you behind my show's logo there. And all of the research team, the global healing team, these guys have been incredible. Jana, your team, those individuals have helped us too. It's been phenomenal. And I just want to tell you what the greatest reward is. For example, I fly up to Michigan this weekend. I just want to wrap this up because all of us actually touch on things. As excited as y'all are to be a part of this team, I was super excited. Y'all said yes. When I called you, I was like, we got to do this. Will you do it? Oh my God. They all said yes. Oh yes. This is going to be exciting. I can't wait. I was just as thrilled. Still am humbled every day. I love it. I needed a unity of people to help me and help each other, which has been a beautiful thing. But I was in Michigan this weekend, invited to a conference called Eyes Wide Open. And there was a 2-day event. There were several doctors there, but I spoke on the first day. Second day, I was just going to be a part of a panel for an hour or two. And come to the second panel day, I'm up there, and I'm not going to mention the docs' names, but a few of them started talking negatively about nicotine. And I don't know why they want to do that. They just want to throw out things about that or whatever. And I just said, hold up. I mean, I just grabbed the mic and said, hold up. Before anybody wants to demonize this thing, there was someone in this building who walked up to me yesterday, and I said, I want you to stand up and tell the world what happened. What did you tell me the day I walked in here? And this lady stood up and told the audience that she had a dear friend. She got a group of friends together to watch a documentary I filmed the day after Healing for the Ages, and it's called The Antidote. I flew to New York City with Jason Shurka and filmed it that day. She had seen it and then asked a whole group of friends to come over or gather and watch it. And one of her friends had lost 100% of her sight in her right eye from having COVID. She went blind in her right eye for over a year. After watching The Antidote, she chewed nicotine gum, and within 2 days, all of her sight came back. And I just looked at the audience, at the panel, and I said, you really going to tell me to tell these people that there's something wrong with using this? And I said, this thing's creating miracles. I don't give a crap what y'all want to say about what might be in those products. If you're going to be concerned about that, go eat the foods that have it in it. God gave it to you in plants. Go eat those things. Do not let these people demonize you or make you think you cannot utilize this incredible nutrient God gave us. Science and man bastardized it. And I am extremely moved when people continue to share me these incredible miracles. And just like Ed Group said, I didn't want to know this stuff. It literally came to me in a download while in the shower. Like, I didn't want to know this stuff. I was like, wait, what? And then I got out and started researching. I couldn't believe it. It's been an amazing, humbling experience to be shown stuff by the grace of God on behalf of his children. And there are many of us who are humbly trying to tell you, and do not let naysayers get in the way. Like, just don't. So anyway, this was an incredible, beautiful moment. It was the greatest thing that experience for me, going to Michigan, to make those flights, to take time away from my family, prepare a presentation. My favorite thing of the whole 3 days being there was this lady I never met in my whole life randomly walking up to me and saying, her friend in 1 day or 2 days had her eyesight restored with nicotine gum, and her other friend's hearing was restored. Incredible. So anyway, it's not that nicotine's the cure-all for all things. I'm just saying this was just one piece of a massive puzzle of demonized bioweapons, and it is something that has been a massive blessing to so many people around the world, and it has been a very humbling thing to watch. It's going to be just as humbling to watch the benefits coming from the grounding. It's going to be just as massive to watch distilled water transform your life. It's going to be incredible, like we had individuals come to the Healing for the Ages conference, stand up on stage and say nicotine patches and urine therapy cured them. After getting the bioweapon shots, their lives were destroyed. Let some medical doctor tell you to ignore what we're telling you. Just watch the testimonials and watch what God has done. If they're not preaching God's natural resources, just don't listen. Go back to God. They're trying to convince you to trust science more than God. We're never going to do that. That has been our intention, our goal all along. And man, it has been an incredible ride. And I just want you to know we love you. We're grateful for you. And I love God for loving me and loving all of you and creating all of us and putting us all here together. It's very exciting for me. All right. That's all I got to say. Anybody else got anything to say? We love you.
We love you.